Duty, what am I? Oh, well, hello, welcome back, my bottle language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the bottle language guy, and yeah, sometimes technical glitch happen, and I had a false intro. It's this that we are going to, it's going to be part of our show, and you're going to see it at some point, but it creeped into the, what I call the blank screen, the bottle language guy, Jesus Enrique Rosas, the bottle language guy, all the things. And then the intro had to happen at some point. I was rushing because it was late. It was late, and how come I'm late? How come I'm late? Sometimes happens. Things happen. It's great that this is not TV, but hello, welcome back, my bottle language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the bottle language guy, and welcome to episode 124 of the Jesus Enrique Rosas Show. We are live through Rumble, YouTube, and X right now. Let me confirm X. We are live right now. Best way, very easy way to support my channel is subscribe and like this video and share this video in this live stream and all my videos with your family and friends. It's that easy. It's free. It's free. Remember that every single topic that I will cover in these shows, I will cut it and send to all my YouTube channels right in the description of this video. Mainly the most important secondary channel right now, the Power Pundit. Make sure that you go there and subscribe to the Power Pundit right now. Okay, we have some updates. Update from Thames Police. Thanks, J.E. May. Police say they are consulting with prosecutors. Nothing else to say at this time. They will update of any new developments. We should talk about the royal family today, that they are basically taking the fall for Andrew, right now, which shouldn't be happening. Because, it's like William and Catherine. What does William and Catherine have to do with him? People are saying that the king should do something, but what can he do besides, telling the authorities, okay, if you want to check anything at Buckingham Palace, then go ahead. But we need to address that. Here's my Royal Rogue mug. It's my Royal Rogue mug. I have not merged. I haven't done. You know that this is my favorite mug. This is my favorite mug right now. Okay, it can be yours as well. Make sure to check the link in the description for all my merch, and my Royal Rogue mug is in there. I needed coffee. This is my third cup of coffee today. I have been sleeping a bit better, as in I still have kind of nightmares, but I guess I don't care anymore. It's like, all right, so be it. Nightmares with Epstein, with Candace Owens, whatever. Give me your best shot. Give me your best shot. Friendly reminder that these shows are 100% live. That's why we have false intros. We have audio glitches. We have false starts like the other day that we had to basically start the whole thing from scratch. But that is beauty. That is the beauty of being absolutely live with you. And of course, keeping an eye on your comments. Keeping an eye on your comments here, right here. The comments are everything. I will keep an eye on your comments, and when I see a good comment, when I see a good comment that looks like a latte, I don't drink latte boutique mods. I usually it's a cappuccino or espresso or something harder. No pun intended. I came out wrong, but whatever. I that happens sometimes. It happens sometimes. Let's review the topics that we are going to talk about today. There's going to be quite a motley crew of topics. We need to talk about Canada. This is not going to be. This is going to be really serious. So what happened in Canada? This is horrific. It's going to be the first topic of today. Thomas Massey and Rokana revealed the 6 names of these co-conspirators to Jeffrey Epstein, and I want to say a couple of things about that. I have such a mess here. What is this? Lex Wexner should be. Wait a second. I want to organize a bit my stuff. And remember that at the end of this shows, I am making sure that these shows go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Amazon Podcasts as well. We also have to talk about Howard Lutnick lying. Completely lying. This was insane, but well, we need to address this. You know that I call the shots as I see them. You know that in Venezuelan, we have an expression. You're gonna learn a Venezuelan expression today. We should have a section, right? A very brief section. Learn a bit of Venezuelan every day. You're gonna learn one Venezuelan expression right now, which is in Spanish, in Venezuelan Spanish, no soy escaparate de nadie, which literally means I am not anyone's cupboard, which translates to I call the shots whoever side the shots are coming from. Or if I see bad behavior from any sides, I have no favoritisms. I will just call it out loud. Don't repeat after me. No soy, I am not, escaparate, like cupboard, de nadie, of nobody. No soy escaparate de nadie. I am nobody's, no one's cupboard. So yes, I'm going to call out anyone in the Trump administration if it requires to do so. Also, we're going to be talking about Pam Bondi, who you know that she's been getting a bad rap since the beginning for reasons as well. This interview with Ana Paulina Luna about the complexity of the Epstein victims, we're going to address that as well. And a couple more things. There's you know that I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't be doing this, but Candace Owens is basically becoming the second Meghan. She's creeping. She's creeping, very slowly creeping to be the third main character of my channel. I don't want this, but she's doing this herself. Of course, the first one, my first love in terms of YouTube. It's always gonna be Meghan. Meghan is missing me. Meghan is jealous. What does Bill Gates have? You're talking about Bill Gates so much as of late. I've been talking about Candace Owens. Why don't you talk about me anymore, Jesus? I'm gonna get an email at some point, maybe from any of her arch-well minions. We want to know. We demand to know. We are sending you a cease and desist letter to stop ignoring Meghan. Meghan, I'm going to talk about you. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow. But yeah, we need to address a couple of things. There are some things that are going to be a bit, disturbing in today's show. And yeah, this basically has to do with Epstein as well. This is basically going to be the weirdest topic today and wildest topic today. This is gonna be this is important to understand what is going out there. Maybe we can analyze some clips of this Ghislaine Maxwell depositions that were unearthed again from this files dump of the Epstein files. And also there was this dude who was already released on the Nancy Guthrie case. He was basically caught, interrogated, and released immediately, so they still have absolutely no clue of what is going on. So many of you are talking about Justin Castro. Why are you, so many of you, talking about Justin Castro in the comments? It's because of the Canada thing. I think that he released a photo of him with Katy Perry in I don't know if it was Instagram. And we also had this case of this guy at the Winter Olympic Games that maybe needs a mention. Maybe it requires a mention. Let's see, just make sure that my AC is not messing up with my voice. My voice have been doing better, but you know how it is. You know how it is with men. I just began recovering from whatever I had with my voice. And the moment I felt a bit better, I stopped drinking my magical tea. But I went back to coffee already. Oh, no. I shouldn't be drinking that much caffeine, but I love caffeine. People were saying, by the way, that it is concerning the amount of people who are smoking pot, and more people are smoking pot, and maybe it means that that could be the explanation why less and less people are drinking alcohol, because they are switching to pot. And when you say that, okay, maybe it's not a good idea that people were smoking pot that much, then you know what? Let's say pot enthusiasts say that, well, alcohol is way worse. And I don't know. I would just say that when we were nicotine and alcohol society, I think we made nice progression. So about the pot, I don't know. This is not to endorse alcohol. I haven't drank alcohol. I drank, I think I got one Japanese whiskey when they got Maduro. I absolutely had to, but I haven't drank in a long time. And this is not to endorse alcohol or endorse pot. Nicotine, we need to be clear about something that I'm going to say right now. I have said in the past, and most likely I will repeat in the future. Current civilization, the society that you see around you, all that has been created, of course, number one, thanks to God, of course, but number two is your two best friends, which are caffeine and nicotine. That is something that it gives you lung cancer, but sadly is maybe there's other ways to take nicotine, but it's undeniable that nicotine played a massive role into focusing and inventing things. So it's that is the thing. Nicotine kills nanobots. So maybe one cigarette every once in a while, maybe once every couple weeks. You know, when you have this I don't know how to say that, hearty meal. It's hearty, right? How do you say that? Hearty. It's hearty. It's that you have a hearty meal, Sunday, and you say you want to wind down, sitting and just watching the afternoon sky or whatever, and you have one espresso, and you get, I don't know, maybe a cigar or a cigarette, maybe once a month. It doesn't matter. Once a month is it doesn't matter. Everything in moderation, even everything, alcohol, cigarettes, pot, everything in moderation. That is the key. That is the thing that we should be striving for. Nothing better than a cup of tea. Maybe we should be starting today's show. I think I've been delaying today's show because the first topic, oh my God, Oh my god, this first topic, I don't like when these things happen. Wait a second. Okay, I need to, what? Oh my god, I need a couple seconds. I need to make a pause, that this is the things that happen. I need 1 minute, pause for 1 minute, and I will be back in just one. So one thing that I have to do is that I don't forget my phone, and I use my phone as a countdown clock for the topics, so I don't go overboard with the time of the topics. Is that one thing that I have to do is that when I change to the please stand by thing, then I have to put the I should include the music or have some make some music for that moment. I don't want to maybe a soft elevator style music. I should write it down. Let me write it down. Elevator music for, elevator music. Some elevator music, in the style of jazz of the of the intro. Yes, I needed a coffee. Something that I can help. So we are actually ready to begin right now. Oh my God. So unprofessional. But sometimes I need to take things easy. We need to take things easy. The problem with playing classical music is that I'm going to get triggered by YouTube. I have to compose my own classical music in all cases, and then we can talk. So we need to address this horrific incident in Canada, which is one of the worst shootings in years. And just in transgender, 17-year-old Jesse Strang identified as the school shooter in Tumble Ridge, Canada, killing 10 people. I don't know this how to digest this. This is a big problem, and I'm going to address what the trans trend. I'm going to say, that I usually say transgenders. I'm not gonna do that today. I'm gonna begin saying the trans trend. This has been pushing down our throats like I don't know. A transgender teenager has killed 10 and injured 25 in Tumble Ridge, British Columbia, Canada. He began to identify as a woman in 2023. 6 victims were found dead inside Tumble Ridge Secondary School, and another died on the way to the hospital. This is terrible. We see the basically the social media of this guy who was, the ranch, began to identify as a woman 2 or 3 years ago. The trans shooter who carried out one of the worst school shootings in Canadian history at Tumble Ridge, he began transitioning at age 15. I absolutely, I need to blame the parents, whoever the parents are. 15 years old, you are a minor, and your parents should be responsible of you. So if you're starting this transitioning at 15, I don't know the laws of where he was, but even if the laws allow for that, that is a failure from the parents. No way around that. You're a parent of a 15-year-old who, oh, you know what? I feel like a woman. You have to try to find out what is going on, and that's one of the things that that was a glitch at the beginning of this show that I showed you. There's screenshots that actually these questions from the mother on a Facebook group. And my recommendation is that if you notice that you have a son with issues, and you should I don't know, look for professional help. Now that it has been confirmed that the post of the shooter's deceased mother made about him in a private Facebook group back in 2015. Does anyone else have a 7-year-old boy or girl who is very slow? I don't mean academically. He's very smart. Just needs to be asked a million times to do anything at home and school. And there's these highlights. He loves to run, scream, squawk, and sometimes he hurts his siblings. He doesn't hit at all at school. The school wants him tested for behavioral disorder. He also has a huge heart and shows intense empathy when he sees anyone hurt, not by his own hand, but has a devious grin when he hurts his siblings. He covers things up and lies to get out of taking responsibility for his actions. Again, this can absolutely happen, but you need to catch these things as soon as you can. Have to catch the things as soon as you can. I find at home he also has times where he can be very helpful and nice. Then other times he's pretty mean. So that makes me think it's more of a me problem than his problem. Again, that is kind of the mother saying, I am guilty of something. This is something of a me problem, not as a his problem or something that is going on with him. And at the same time, we don't know what are the circumstances of his upbringing. That is also true. And that's why I want to talk about this, again, trans trend, more in a systemic problem. Because these kids, they are literally kids, they are running to identify in some kind of, I don't know, fashionable way, because you know that being transgender nowadays is almost fashionable. If you get like, I don't know, 6% of the young population saying that, oh yeah, I'm either gay or trans, which we knew that not very long ago, I say like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, you said like the amount of gays or the percentage of gays was 2%. It was okay. It was something that was up until very recently very standard. Hadn't changed that much. And from that 2% who considered themselves gays, you had a even smaller 2 to 5% of that 2%. Okay, we're going to like in this smaller and smaller percentages who identified as trans. And how come you have more than 5 or 6% right now that have these disorders? So this is basically a trend, something trendy pushed by liberals to mask for actual mental illnesses. And the problem is that mental illnesses is not like, oh, you're just crazy and that's it. We call it a day. No, that is a systemic problem that starts with nurturing. And that's why I'm trying to connect with a video that I made, I don't know if it was yesterday or a couple of days ago, in which it is so important. The first 4 to 5 years of age is so important for the mother to be with the baby, with the toddler, and that is non-negotiable. Else, you're going to have this kind of situations. You're going to say that it directly contributes, but it's a huge, huge factor. Police found 5 victims inside the school, 2 more at a nearby residence, and another person died on the way to the hospital. Around 25 children were injured. Children. Yeah, it's like around 0.02%, something like that. People who are actually transgender, or who were actually transgender like, 20 years ago, before all this began. You know who began pushing for all this. We all know who began pushing for all this. And you know that for the authorities, in this case, the one in charge of this investigation, it was more important to conceal the identity of the shooter. And when you know, there is this horrific shootings, then if they conceal details about the perpetrator, okay, it's still a kid, 17 years old. It's still a kid. Could be, privacy because he's a minor. But you know the reason why they didn't want to say who the guy was. Because, it's like people are going to jump to conclusions. It's not like we knew. Of course, we couldn't possibly know. But then when the identity is released, you see that there's nonsense like this happening. A transgender shooter in Canada guns down 5 people, and the police are more afraid of misgendering the suspect than they are of providing factual information. And they were very, very hell-bent onto saying trans person, gun person. They didn't want to say gunman. No, they had to say gun person.
That includes the deceased gun person.
Okay. And then separately, do you know the gun person's relationship?
This is a joke. This is a joke. This is the society in most of the Western world we are going through. This insanity has to stop. This insanity has to stop, and I don't see this. I can't see this stopping anytime soon. We need we need 25 years to heal from all this and try to pretend that this never happened. But we cannot pretend that this never happened because we cannot forget about how millions were gaslit into believing that, we are not going to have any more insane asylums that is inhuman. No, we're going to just release these people on the street, and if they feel different or they are somewhat crazy, we're going to pump them. We're going to either pump them with drugs, or we're going to tell them, maybe you were born in the wrong body, and that could be a solution for them, which is insane. I would like to speak in behalf of this, because people from the future are going to judge us, saying, what were these people thinking? And as for me, when people find out about me in the future, I want them to know that I was against all this. I want to make sure of that. So, you see that Disclosed TV just in the description: mass school shooting in Tumble Ridge. Police have identified the shooter but won't release details at this time for quote-unquote privacy reasons. And the shooter offed himself. Himself, that's it. It was a he. We're gonna go with that insanity. He was in a trans forum where he discussed his violent fantasies. Transgenders are a terrorist group. This is allegedly, I don't know if this was the guy. I find it addictive. It's hard to not watch violent content. I'm just drawn to it. I don't think much of it. Though to say it doesn't affect me, it's likely naive. I'm sure maybe subconsciously it does. It just doesn't feel like a big deal. I'm drawn to substances too. It's easy to get high and just zone out into videos of this stuff. I'm going to tell you one big problem. People are absolutely aimless nowadays. And I'm talking about adults. And adults are aimless. So many adults are aimless. They don't know what to do with their lives. And it's so contradictory, because we are living in the wealthiest, healthiest, most peaceful era of humanity, and so many people are developing mental illnesses, and so many people are resorting to drugs. Why? Because they're aimless. Now imagine what happens to a teen who watches the world around him and watches the insanity that is Canada right now, and watches the insanity that could be his family and his family's friends and his extended family that are buying into maybe woke stuff. At school it is programmed as well. Are you sure that you're not gay? Are you sure that you're not gay? Are you really sure? Are you completely sure that you're not gay? If you get that asked every day, of course everyone is going to wonder if you're a kid. You're beginning to wonder if you're gay or not. And since gay nowadays is not much of a big deal, because it's not much of a big deal, because it is not, then they have to, let's say, ramp up things and go all the way. No, I'm not just gay. I was born in the wrong body. I'm transgender. You know, they have to go all the way. It's like, it is like a drug, right? You have those that gives you a kick, and once that kick no longer is a kick, you have to ramp up the dose. But in this case, the society, I don't know which other way to explain this, but that is the horrific circumstances that we are living right now. The Canadian gun person, switching. The Canadian gun person who killed 9 people, including teens at a British Columbia school and members of his own family before taking his own life. Oh, right, that was horrific. Is a trans person. Police initially said the suspect was a female in a dress. They said that. A female in a dress. And yeah, that moment everybody knew. Everybody knew that moment was the moment that we realized what was this about. And are not confirming the suspect identity. We already know the suspect's identity. This is one of Canada's deadliest mass shootings, and the suspects joins a fast-growing list of trans mass killers in North America. The gunman's alleged YouTube avatar is a gun and an anime character on top of a trans pride flag. This is way too bad. Therefore I am. According to now deleted Reddit posts by Strang, wait for it. This is very good. This is very good. CW, idle hands, idle, right? Idle hands are the devil's workshop. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. I couldn't agree more. He had used psychedelics, mushrooms, nearly set his house on fire, and ended up in a mental hospital. After he was released, he was reportedly seeking other psychedelic substances. At the time, he was taking a high-dose antidepressant and an antipsychotic. Sadly, this is the problem. And this is a reality that we need to deal with. And there's no way around this. Some people just belong to one insane asylum. And whatever recovery they could get, whatever, let's say, fix they could get, because maybe they can be fixed, has to happen inside the insane asylum. You cannot just release them into the wild, release them to their family homes, because that would be a danger to their families, to their friends, to that school, to society. And no, that doesn't happen, because that is wrong, apparently. Apparently, that's something bad. Oh, you can't put people in that kind of a stigma. But then this risk is worth taking. And again, society is allowing these kids to be programmed and poisoned this way, because these young minds have been poisoned. And that is the main problem. And that's what has to be stopped. Besides so many things that are happening. But I would like to know, what do you think about this in the comments? My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss. Remember that I always say kind of goodbye at the end of the sections, because I make sure to divide the sections as soon as they end and upload them right now to the corresponding channels. I'm uploading this to the Body Language Guy channel right now. And this is it. This is something that is preventable. This is something that is going to take time, but it is something that is urgently must be fixed. This urgently has to be fixed. And we know every single step that we have to make to fix this kind of things. The question is the ones in charge are willing to take them. Man, this is the single most important thing. Are the ones in charge willing to take those steps? Is the word? Yeah, take those steps. Perhaps this should be the steps as soon as possible. So we are ready to move on. Ready to move on? I want to make sure that everything, I'm juggling a few things in here. Next topic is about the 6 co-conspirators that were unmasked by Representative Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie. You know that I sometimes disagree with them, but I think that this was a good thing, because there's this question. These 6 dudes were, they say, redacted. We had this classified page of redacted people, and we could only see Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And then it showed that there were a lot of many more people, including victims. This was shared by Thomas Massie again. And he was mentioning, for example, Zurab Mikeladze, and also Leonid Leonov, Nicola Caputo. There are a couple dudes here that I'm missing. Salvatore Nuara, but it's not that they were exactly secret or hidden, because 2 of them, I found out that 2 of them were mentioned hundreds, if not thousands of times in the Epstein files. And you might be asking, okay, what is all the fuss about? Why should we care about this 2 that everybody is saying that they have something, they have this kind of secret agenda? But I wanted to listen to what they wanted to say. So, Ro Khanna said there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. And yes, I know that people want to know why so many names that apparently should not be redacted are redacted. So, let's listen to his argument, see what he has to say.
Yesterday, Congressman Massie and I...
Sorry, I want to fix this a bit. We go.
I went to the Department of Justice to read the unredacted Epstein files. We spent about 2 hours there, and we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted. In fact, there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massie and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake, and now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zurab Mikeladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI.
Sorry, notice that I was muted. Something that I'm not going to defend the DOJ in any way. I think that they have to do their job, and anybody who has any sort of job, even if it's redacting 3 million files, has to do their job and do it well, especially when we're talking about such a sensitive topic. But again, it's 3 million files and images and videos, and could happen that, in the haste of trying to redact the stuff because of the victims, they said, okay, there are victims on this page, we're going to just redact the whole thing. Again, it's like I'm going to address some other topics about this, going to be a bit darker, in which people are saying that this is something that people are actually demanding online, every single piece or paper or video or image in the Epstein files should have some kind of Cliff's Notes, all right? Some kind of Cliff's Notes to understand what the piece of information is about, which would take literally years. If you have to make one annotation and consult that annotation with other people who making annotations, you're going to take years because of that. And we're going to continue this to keep addressing.
Now, my question is, why did it take Thomas Massie and me going to the Justice Department to get these 6 men's identities to become public? And if we found 6 men that they were hiding in 2 hours, imagine how many men they are covering up for in those 3 million files. But the story gets worse. The reality is that Donald Trump's FBI scrubbed these files in March, long before Thomas Massie and I passed the Epstein Transparency Act. Now, my bill is clear. The Epstein Transparency Act requires them to unredact those FBI files.
Well, as everybody is asking, of course, is why weren't they this intense during the Biden administration? I don't know, but I have some ideas of why.
And yet the Justice Department said to me and to Congressman Massey, we just uploaded whatever the FBI sent us. And guess what? The FBI sent scrubbed files. That means the survivor's statement to the FBI, naming rich and powerful men who went to Epstein's island, who went to his ranch, who went to his home and raped and abused underage girls or saw underage girls being paraded, they're all hidden. They're all redacted. It's a little bit of a farce. They're inviting all the members of Congress to go to see the Department of Justice, quote unquote, unredacted files, but they've got all redacted files from the FBI.
Yeah, but this is a thing that I wouldn't understand. Isn't the FBI, isn't the DOJ in charge of the FBI as a branch, or don't they have the unredacted original files somewhere? I really don't know, but I think that, yeah, this is another thing. If you want to take a look at 3 million files, maybe you can do that digitally, as I guess that a congressman can go to a local database and be able to look for that. That should be easy to do. But the problem is, other problem is that there are still things going on with grand juries right now. So it's like one thing. This is something that I misunderstood a few days ago. It's not like there are no prosecutions or there are no processes. It's like that the DOJ say these are the files that we can release. We have no more legal obligations. They release the files. That doesn't mean that there are no grand jury processes happening right now. And of course, those grand jury processes mean that those people, both victims and perpetrators, those names have to remain redacted. That is another thing. So in this case, I have to say that Rokana has a point. Okay, he absolutely has a point. But we need to understand, again, that this is way more complex than anybody could imagine. Now, my criticism or my observation still stands that they kind of waited until Donald Trump was in office, although to be fair, both Rokana and Massey have pointed not only, Donald Trump, but they haven't said anything directly about Donald Trump because they know that Trump is mentioned in the files, but not in the way that people were expecting. And especially Democrats, the ones that still have some kind of level-headed common sense, they know that they can't just say crazy stuff about Donald Trump because the way that he's actually mentioned on the Epstein files, like either misleading tips or the one who exposed Epstein in the first place. But at the same time, we again, this is a complicated system. I digress a bit, but I really wanted to show you what Rokana was presenting here.
And it's not the fault of the Justice Department attorneys. They were just told upload things that Donald Trump's FBI had already scrubbed. It's a blatant violation of the Epstein Transparency Act, but it also asks a fundamental question. Who are they protecting? Why are they protecting these rich and powerful men, people I call part of the Epstein class? Why are we in a country where there is no elite accountability for people who do the most heinous things?
Okay, one thing is, of course, you always want to have a narrative. It's something that you do in propaganda, in politics, in mass communications. You can grab something that could have been a mistake that shouldn't have happened from the DOJ or from the FBI, whatever. They mistakenly redacted these people's names in some parts, but they remain unredacted in thousands of other documents. And you put it like they're hiding something. Yeah, you essentially at the same time, Rokana tries to add some drama to this, cherry picking the fact that, oh, they are redacting this. Yeah, but so many of these people's names are all over the Epstein files at the same time. So yeah, it's a bit of theatrics, a bit of drama, to add some spice to it.
You have in England the king now calling for an investigation and possible prosecution of his own brother.
Which is the right thing to do. Big props to King Charles.
You have in Norway the princess who no longer has support to be the queen. And yet in the United States of America, we have someone in the cabinet, Howard Lutnick, who is all over these Epstein files, who allegedly had business with Epstein after he was convicted of pedophilia, and he still is in the cabinet. We need to ask ourselves, are we in America going to have elite accountability? Are we going to call on rich and powerful people who broke the law or cavorted with a pedophile, a convicted pedophile? Are we going to call them to account?
The problem here that I see is when you say that somebody was a co-conspirator with Jeffrey Epstein, the concept of, or the term co-conspirator is so broad that implies basically any sort of contact with the guy. It's almost any sort of contact. I'm going to give you one example at the end of Ro Khanna's speech.
Are we going to have prosecutions for billionaires who went to this island and either raped underage girls or saw underage girls being raped and didn't say anything? Are we going to have investigations? I'll tell you what this is about. It's not just about the 1,200 survivors. It's about 2 tiers of justice in America. It's about people who can accumulate wealth and power and don't have to care about the rest of America.
Again, I'm going to ask the question again. Nice 10 out of 10 speech. Very good, projection of voice. Very good point. Why didn't you make all these points during the Biden administration? It is just a question. It's just a curiosity.
They have destroyed so much of this country. Income inequality is at a 60-year high. Workers' salaries are less than they have been.
Okay, you're missing the point. That's not the point of the topic, but whatever.
For 75 years as a part of GDP. Somehow this country seems to be working for the rich and powerful, but it's not working for ordinary working class Americans. I say enough. It's time to begin with accountability for the Epstein class. Hold them in front of Congress, those people who visited the island or did business with Epstein after he was a convicted pedophile.
That was very populist of him, the Epstein class. I'm not gonna lie, the guy knows about propaganda and knows how to use it.
Investigate them, prosecute them, and let's return to democratic accountability in the United States of America. Let's return to one system of justice in the United States of America. Let's return to a place where every American has a stake in this country.
Nice speech. There's a, let's say like a problem, because there's, for example, this Lex Werner, who was one of the names exposed in this, let's say in this unredaction of the files. And the problem is that, yeah, he is listed as a co-conspirator, but there are a couple things that I've told you that happen all the time. And I mentioned that it's not only the people who was, let's say, doing things to children and to kids and teens, but also the ones who were involved in terms of finances with Epstein. And in the case of Lex Wexner, what this points to is not that the guy was, or at least there's no trace of any sort of evidence that say that he was doing anything to kids. But in the finances department, well, the investigation could be about how his paths crossed with Epstein in terms of finances. So that is one thing. So yeah, that is part of what I'm going to address in the following topic, is that so many people say that Okay, you were named here, your name was redacted either on purpose, could be, either by mistake, could be as well. And it is unredacted, automatically you are a PDF file. That doesn't work that way. That is not how it works. And again, you can be related to Jeffrey Epstein with nefarious actions, with heinous actions in many levels, of course, any levels that one can imagine, including, but not limited to, finances. And it seems that this guy, Les Wexner, is in the latter, but we need to find more, let's say, dig deeper down this rabbit hole. But meanwhile, I would love to know, what do you think about this in the comments? My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the battle language guy. Much love and bliss. Yeah, this is a bit, this is disturbing in many ways. But at the same time, people are jumping to conclusions. So automatically, he is a PDF file. No, people could have been doing crimes with Jeffrey Epstein. Not necessarily. Of course, some could be. Absolutely. There's wood chipper candidates. Yes. But there's so many other ways that you can commit crimes. And yeah, we know that Jeffrey Epstein was doing a lot of stuff with a lot of people, so we need to address that as well. I don't know where I'm going to put this. I'm going to upload that to maybe the battle language guy. I'm going to upload that to the... maybe I'm going to upload that to the Power Pundit instead. Let's switch to the Power Pundit. I think it's gonna be better. Go to the Power Pundit because I want to nurture my Power Pundit channel as well. Okay, and we need to move to another topic. This other topic is gonna be, let's say, so you understand the craze, the insanity of what is going on in the Epstein files. We need to address. Let me see. Okay, this is gonna be a hard one. Next topic. The elites. Okay, I have not. I've not gone down that rabbit hole. Lone rabbit. I will. Okay. I haven't looked at their stores, and okay, I'm gonna look into it. All right. Nice. I will, absolutely. Let me finish my coffee. I think you need an Ay Caramba channel. I used to have a Spanish channel. I don't have time to maintain channels that are not from this live stream. Everything that I do is contained in these live shows. I simply, I had to be realistic. I can live stream for 2 hours, for 3 hours, but that's it. That's what I can do daily. And these topics, send them to every single one of my channels. Like this one. This is going to be, disturbing and anticlimactic as well. This is going to be a bit complicated to understand, but I will try to explain this as much as possible. So you might want to know, what are you looking at right now? This photo was found in the Epstein files and is heavily redacted to what we see, a naked female body, a slender, naked female body, which is heavily redacted. And people are saying, what were they doing? The woman is kind of at the top of a bathtub or something like that, and there's a guy behind her doing something with water. I have no idea what is going on here. But it's disturbing, right? This must have been happening at Epstein's island, right? Or his ranch or something. Well, wrong. There's a problem with the Epstein files that we need to address. This photo was or is in the Epstein files, yes, but the original source of this photo is an article from the Daily Star about this this dude, Dan Bilzerian. He's a serial scammer, womanizer, whatever you name it. And he was like the OG Andrew Tate, like the Andrew Tate 1.0. And if you go to the Daily Star and you look for this, okay, I'm not gonna go there, but you go for this article, Daily Star, Instagram's Playboy King Dan Bilzerian, you will find this exact picture with minimal redaction, just a tiny redaction at, with the intimate parts of the lady, and you will realize that no, it's not a girl, it's a grown woman once you see her body. So you might be asking, how did that photo from a public article in the Daily Star about an unrelated guy, Dan Bilzerian, Andrew Tate 1.0, ended up on the Epstein files? And people were saying that this was a girl, this was a teen, this is a teen, what are they doing to her, etc. I'm about to explain. But before, I need to show you a even more disturbing picture that could be a spray tan. Very well pointed, Margie. Could be a spray tan. All right. Okay. Yeah, some of you saying that it's a teen figure. When you look at the original photo, you realize no, it is a grown up woman. It is gonna be a young woman, maybe in her early 20s, but it's a woman nonetheless. The next image I'm going to show, trigger warning, could be really disturbing, but it has an explanation, which is a bit, I don't know how to say this, but this is the image, okay? And you immediately are going to freak out, as so many people have freaked out on the internet, and it's understandable because we are seeing what is obviously, quote unquote, a child in a very inappropriate action that I'm not gonna even describe. She's basically taken her panties off. All right, everything is redacted, everything is happening here, and there's another problem with this image. You might think that this image was taken by Jeffrey Epstein, but this image was not taken by Jeffrey Epstein. This image was on a porn site which feature, let's say, actresses that I don't know how to put this in a way that some of you can understand. But you need to understand that there's a lot of debauchery out there, and there's a lot of dudes out there getting off to adult women who are legal of age, but they look like girls, like teenagers, and that is their appeal. And yeah, it turns out that this is a porn actress that has the appearance, that this genetic freaks, that even if I think that she was 19 at the time, I know that she doesn't look 19, but yeah, this is not something to joke about. I did my research, and yeah, she is a thing. She is something, and yeah, she is of a legal age. And no, was not taken by Jeffrey Epstein. This is a regular porn site out there. This is quite uncomfortable because the subject matter can be really disturbing. Yeah, some of you are saying, yeah, that this is crazy. But another image that was on Jeffrey Epstein's files in that same document, because there was this document with all these pictures at the same time, you had a single PDF with so many photos, was this one, which is pretty obviously like a photo that you could find on any magazine like Playboy, for example. It is a glamour shot of a grown-up woman who we assume is naked, and that's why it's redacted. It was also contained in the Epstein files. And you might be asking why. Why are we finding images that were not photos taken by Epstein or were downloaded from the internet or you can find freely in the internet? What is the point of that? And that is the problem. That is the actual problem with the Epstein files. The Epstein files are full, like the 3 million, tainted files that we should call them that way. Jan Wagner, the Epstein tainted files, because these files have everything, not only the emails, not only the messages, not only the things that Jeffrey Epstein made up, not only all these tips sent to the FBI, but also just movies and images that Jeffrey Epstein, okay, this is cute, I'm gonna download that to my hard drive, even from the internet. And that's why we get images like the first one that we saw that could have been really disturbing, because you immediately thought that this was, I don't know, the island or the ranch or whatever, and it turns out to be from a regular article from the Daily Star. Again, you can just screenshot this and look for it. You can look it from Google and you will find immediately this image. You don't have to trust me. You can look for it yourself. So that is a big problem. And why? Because people are picking images that are just out there saying that these are Jeffrey Epstein's victims. And no, the guy was, okay, of course, the guy had, I don't know, like close to 2,000 victims, something like that. All right, so I think that is a number. But at the same time, there's so many pictures that are fluff, that do not belong to anything remotely resembling a case or an investigation. And the amount of misinformation, the amount of clickbaiting out there with this content is sickening. This is. I mean, I can't even think all the ways that people are going to misuse all this. But again, I can understand 100% that there are these fringe examples, like of this actress, which looks like this, is because, of course, there are perverts that get off to women that look like teenagers. That is already concerning. The problem that it is technically legal. And at the same time, we have images that, this is we are short of a lingerie catalog page, these pages. But the thing gets a bit crazier, because I haven't been able to verify this kind of claims. There was this photo, okay, also in the Epstein files, and people are finding out that this is a stock photography. There's another photo from the Epstein files people are perceiving as victims. Teen Eye shows it's been around for over a decade. It's a National Geographic joke. What's the point of including this in the Epstein files without context? And the context is what people are complaining. For example, why isn't there a context about this picture? And people are pretending that you're going to review millions of files, images, and videos and add a context to them. And a context, of course, will require some kind of research. For example, to me, to make a point about this image, one image, and finally find the original article, it took me around 3 minutes. Now extrapolate that to thousands of photos. And maybe, so imagine how many mistakes could be there. So they just released everything. When they said we're gonna release everything, the problem is that they meant everything. And again, we wanted everything. I wanted everything, but I did not expect the amount of fluff in this. Yeah, I think it's a fire hose information. Somebody mentioned that to me. That props. I forgot your name. Sorry about that. On X, somebody told me that it's like a fire hose information. We have way too much information, and way too much information that is misleading. And I want to mention this. I saw this post yesterday, and there's a lot of, let's say, discussion about this post. And at the time of this video, this must have around 6 million, or 5 to 6 million views. The worst Epstein document I've seen that immediately called my attention. A little girl said Jesus makes her feel safe, so they dress up as Jesus as they raped and murdered her. And I say, what? My brain exploded, and I need to look at the email, right? To see what this was about. So I realize this is what I'm going to read that for you. Redacted said that she felt God's presence next to her when she was in bed. She knows that Jesus watches over her, and he helped save her life. Whoops. I'm going to talk about that whoops. And then there was a reply, you should dress up as him when you see her, as Jesus. And I said, all right. Am I missing something here? Where does it say, was my question, where does it say that is a little girl? Where does it say she was sexually abused? And especially, where does it say that she was murdered? I asked this question not only in a quote, but in a reply, and I got torched, completely destroyed in the replies, and they were calling me pedo protector, and everything else. I don't know, Jew, shield, whatever. They were calling me all sorts of names. I was just asking, okay, a little girl said Jesus and this, and they murdered her. But where in this email, where exactly in this email implies any of that? And the explanation of these people who were literally destroying me and insulting me, I didn't get death threats or anything, but I was asking, okay, where does it here say about a little girl? Okay, let's say that, whoops, they say that every time Jeffrey Epstein wrote whoops, means that someone was murdered or someone was raped or something. Again, that could be code for something. Okay, I'm gonna look into it. But at no point, nothing in here says it's a little girl. And we are beyond the thing that people are not reading headlines. It's not like they are not reading the body of articles. It's not that they are not reading headlines. It's not that they're not watching, 2 or 3 minute videos. It's that they just see the caption of this, and they don't even bother to read in the email what the email says. And they just assume that whatever the captioner, in this case, Kang Min Lee, which up to very recently I thought that he was a trusted source, not anymore. They are saying, oh, but what do you think that Epstein was doing in that island? Wait a second. Hold up. I am not defending Jeffrey Epstein. But, I learned word yesterday. Embellishment. The reality of what happened with the victims is bad enough. There's no need to exaggerate or make stuff up. That only hurts the credibility of everything. That only hurts the actual victims. We don't even know what happened here to be jumping to conclusions. We want the investigations to be done, but we don't want to twist a narrative so we can get more clicks. Right, Kang Min? But that's what you did. So that is that is a huge problem in here. That is a huge problem that is happening with the Epstein files. There's so many people I was not going to do this section. I was not going to talk about this. I thought this is unnecessary. People are going to believe whatever they want. But then I remember, where did you go to find the actual stuff of the thing? You go to the body language guide, right? Yeah, I have that responsibility. We need to be level-headed people. We need to have critical thinking. We need to look at the whoops, for example, and the whoops has been mentioned like 400 times, and with statistically verified trend, the whoops always goes with somebody dying, at least in 80% of examples that I've seen. All right, we got a clue. We got a statistically proven clue. That is one thing. But don't tell me that automatically you have to assume that this was a little girl when you have no way of knowing that this was a little girl. And another thing that I got, and a lot, is like, you haven't seen the rest of the thread. I have seen the other emails together with this one. And I was asking people, please lead me to those other emails so I can have some proper context. And guess what? Nobody could lead me to any other emails. It's strange, right? I know. Again, horrific things happening in all those places. Girls were abused, tortured, murdered, you name it. I don't think there's any need to twist the narrative besides people who want clicks and want money and want to profit from the fog of war that has been these 3 million files. And I know that it pales in comparison to Epstein's crimes, but I think that it's a crime as well, of profiting from that, profiting from the misinformation and pushing misinformation, because that only hurts the actual case of the actual victims. But I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. I'm pretty sure that you're going to jump to the comments, or you already were in the comments earlier. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss. Yeah, that was a hard one. That was a hard one to do. I don't think that that anybody wants that level of misinformation, but sadly that's what's happening. People are trying to profit from this in one way or another, and I think that is despicable, because you have millions of views. You have millions of people saying, yeah, Trump is a PDF file. Okay, show us the proof. Because we have this mountain of verified proof that Trump was the one who brought Jeffrey Epstein to justice in the first place back in 2009. Or he helped that. He was an informant to the FBI. And you have, let's say, this amount of, strange origin tips of outrageous claims that can be verified about Trump. And those, tips happened during the Biden administration. What kind of... Well, that is very convenient timing. So there is a problem. There's never any shortage of shills ready to jump on the bandwagon. There's a problem. Not only shills. I think that people... I wouldn't call them shills. I would call them... They're opportunists. They want to just make money out of this. They want to, this is very good. Thousands are profiting, others are going into hiding. That is actually happening. I had to step away. Thank you. It is your mom. I had to step away so late on comment. The God's presence, little girl, whoops, email, bizarre context. It came from YouTuber Melanie King. She was making up all kinds of weird context in a recent video. Again, let's say, for example, I'm gonna tell you how this works. How this works. It's like when you want to believe something, and I want justice. I want this to be, I want to believe that this is not going to happen again. We know that the Epstein thing was no small deal. This was a big deal with very powerful people in every sort of, I don't know, high place that you can imagine. Billionaires, politicians, academics, researchers, I don't know, you name it. Celebrities, you name it. That should never happen again. This should be a cautionary tale. The same way that the pandemic was a cautionary tale, and it is my hope that that is not going to happen again, at least in 20 more years. You know, all the gaslighting of billions of people. But I hope that this serves as some kind of warning for this, every single one who has the slightest amount of power and has just a bit of common sense. I'm going to talk about Howard Lutnick right now, to do the right thing. And the right thing is, of course, not hang out with convicted PDF files. That would help. And you would say, oh, you cannot call Jeffrey Epstein a PDF file. He's not technically a PDF file. He's a FIFO file. Whatever. I don't care. It's the criminal. He was charged with soliciting and procuring underage prostitution. There you have it. And people like Howard Lutnick, that we're going to talk about right now, we're still hanging out with him. And that should be called out. Should be called out. Shouldn't be happening, but happening. And this is disgraceful. This is not exactly true, Lone Raven. The victims have zero security to name names. No, that is not true. Precisely, Thomas Macy said that, you remember that both Thomas Macy and Marjorie Taylor Greene said that they could read the names of the perpetrators at Congress, at the House, and the victims would be safe. And in terms of the victims being sued, Elon Musk said that he could take care of the legal bills. And by the way, there's also anybody with that amount. You know, we have the victim, the Epstein victims. Okay, I'm going to highlight your comment again. We have the Epstein victims. You know that nowadays, anybody with a case strong enough or famous enough, no matter what they did, no matter if you are against what they did, and I think I'm pretty sure that many people want justice for the victims or Epstein's victims. If you open a GoFundMe nowadays, it usually works really well. Imagine if the Epstein victims were sued and they open a GoFundMe for legal bills, legal expenditures. But I think that they would get the requested amount 10 times over. So the money for legal and protection and everything, I don't think. Even if Elon Musk, let's say that Elon Musk backpedals, oh no, I'm not going to do that anymore. If they open a GoFundMe, they would get 10 times the money that they needed for that. So again, they could have Thomas Macy to read that for them. They could have a GoFundMe for any legal expenses. They, I guess the protection, it could be sorted out. So there's no reason why. I think there are all the reasons that people are saying. At this point, so many of them had already reached settlements to not disclose anything that happened, but I don't know how that worked. But at the same time, we have the problem. Before we talk about Howard Lutnick, we could talk about this. Ana Paulina Luna confirms the use of code words in Epstein emails like jerky, has seen the unredacted files describing specific ages like 11 years old and permission to kill, reveal they were sent by women who were alleged victims. And this is a cluster F. This is an absolute cluster F. This is the thing that complicates everything. I don't know how to explain the level of complexity that this arrived. I looked directly at the emails that have been widely circulated pertaining to the H11, the permission to kill email. Those ones were sent by alleged victims, women, and some of them pertaining to jerky, whatever that is a code word and it's weird. Some of those emails were sent by women who claim to be victims. And we also have the whoops that we were talking before. So this is a problem where we have the misinformation inside of the Epstein files. We got the fluff. We have the mistakes made by either mistakes or on purpose made by both the FBI and the DOJ. And now we have this.
There are a lot of viral mentions about the 11-year-old, 10-year-old, people sending these photos to Jeffrey Epstein. Did you uncover who sent those photos of little children?
I looked directly at the emails that have been widely circulated pertaining to the age 11, and I have it written down on my notes, the permission to kill email, the Snow White, the littlest girl was naughty, etc. And those ones were directly sent by alleged victims.
So the most disturbing and darkest and sickest emails were sent by women to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, and some of them pertaining to, jerky, whatever that is. Yeah.
And so just quick follow. What is jerky? Like, what is that exactly?
I think that's the question. I don't know if it's like, and again, like going into specifically just based on what this is, I don't know.
It's a code
the
word.
Context
It
is
has to be a code word. Nobody.
Okay, jerky. One thing is, I don't know, sounds a lot like jerk off, which, by the way, was one of the Jeffrey Epstein's favorite pastimes during his massages. I apologize for being so crude and direct, but that could be like that. Some people have said that could be human flesh as well. The problem is that you only have a code word for human flesh, but don't have absolutely any other clue that points to that. That is the problem. So I have no problem with starting the possibility that, of course, these are code words: jerky, pizza, hot dog, melted cheese, what else? Whoops. Which one? There's another one in there. Could be code words for something, but again, what other evidence do you have that whatever is that code word points to is related to? You have evidence of something, and some people are saying, okay, but if so many are out there implying that there was not this actually trafficking happening in the island, trafficking to other people, then why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? And I have to remind you that Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail precisely because of trafficking girls and women to Jeffrey Epstein. That is the reason why she is in jail. Not because of trafficking to other people, which is the thing that we want to find out about. And the other thing that makes this, that adds another layer of complexity, and if there were women trafficked to men, as I ask the question that, can be unsettling, but the question still stands, were these women paid for and were of legal age? Because if they were of legal age and paid for, that was just plain old prostitution. That I'm not saying that it's not a crime. Actually, it's not a crime in some places, but it's not the level of saying, okay, you're sending girls, trafficking girls to be tortured and murder and who knows what else. Yeah, because there are levels to these crimes. So again, this we're looking at this in a way that I don't know how to grasp. We are close to, well, we have been studying this case for some time. I still don't know how to grasp it in its entirety, because this is not as simple as black or white, and many people are taking advantage of the fact that this is not black and white. Both politicians and influencers as at the same
It's
time.
a
Talks about
code word
jerky
and
like
it's
this.
weird. Yeah, it's a code word and it's weird, but either which way,
We have beef jerky in the studio, okay? So, like, you know, Klein and I know, I've never spoken to my team or anything. There's no correspondence of me talking about jerky this obsessively. There's hundreds of emails about
it's
jerky.
it's a
very
code
specific.
word, and some
Yeah.
of those emails were sent by women, and women that specifically claim to be victims.
Then I would ask, it is very simple. I'm just going to, like, maybe there's an idea here. If Ana Paulina Luna took a good look at the thing and she realized that there's jerky emails, so many of these jerky references were in emails sent by the victims, have you, I don't know, maybe this is a suggestion to anybody who could be in charge of this. Can you, I don't know, maybe in private ask the victims what jerky was about? But at the same time, with the amount of victims that are grown women right now, and how rumors spread, don't you think that if they wrote those emails and they were mentioning jerky over and over again, the meaning of the jerky would have transpired by now? But nobody knows for sure. People are saying, oh yeah, they were eating, practicing cannibalism there. Which, by the way, that is one of the point of one of the emails. They say, look, there's this guy called the Cannibal. And it turns out that in New York City, there was a restaurant called the Cannibal, which, which was one of the specialties. Yeah, beef jerky. And they were mentioning several times this restaurant in New York City called the Cannibal, which one of the specialties was beef jerky. So I am not saying that that is the only clue about the beef jerky thing. I am not saying that that is the only reference. But yeah, at least in one instance, it was about an actual place, which it's odd, right? To call your restaurant right like that. But not exactly illegal. Maybe the FBI can. Maybe the FBI took a look at that just in case. So many questions.
So you're saying that these victims are being groomed into
there's
becoming
evidence.
traffickers themselves.
There's evidence of that. Yes,
okay.
I'm not saying all the
So
victims.
they're not
but
actually
it definitely
victims.
happened.
They're not
Well,
actually victims,
I
or
Wait a second. Yeah. Benny did the thing. They're not actually victims. No, they are victims. I'm going to say something about that right now.
they're
I think that there are some that are
playing a
actual
part.
victims, but I also think that at a certain point, if you, depending on the severity of what you're doing, I think that there's a gray area and then you become a co-conspirator.
Yeah, that is a big issue right now. Because we have spoken about this. Girls that were underage, that were trafficked by other girls. There was this Ponzi scheme of girls that started with Ghislaine Maxwell, of course, and she goes and finds 2 women, and then the women bring more girls, and maybe younger and younger girls and younger girls. And they go and do these massages to Epstein. They get paid, and they maybe they need the money. I am not going to judge anybody here. I'm not going to say that I don't know what kind of upbringing they come from. And after they become of age, they become adults, then Epstein tells them, you want to make more money, then recruit more girls for me. And not going to say that every single one of them, we can't say that all of them did that, but everybody knows that some of them did that. That what makes it more complex again. Because, yeah, you basically start as a victim, yes, but are, I don't know if some people use the word graduated. I don't like to use that word, but you are like switched. You make the switch to co-conspirator because you actually begin to help traffic other girls to Jeffrey Epstein. And yeah, that is absolutely despicable. But at the same time, I can't say there's a big problem in here. There's a big problem in here, and what I'm about to say can sound that I'm saying that women have no agency. But I need you to listen to maybe a couple minutes while I elaborate this. Imagine a girl who is 14 or 15 years old. We know that that was the sweet spot for Jeffrey Epstein. That's what the reports say, that was the sweet spot for Jeffrey Epstein's liking. And you are taken from, you're going to prey on vulnerable girls. You're going to go for vulnerable homes, or broken homes, and divorced parents. That's the manipulator's handbook. And you go for those girls, you ask them, you just have to give Jeffrey a massage. Maybe the first time, maybe the second time, it's just a massage as well. She gets paid, she gets money, she enjoys that, she comes back. And then the third time is more like than a massage, the kind of massage that you're thinking. And the fourth time, they, let's say there's a statutory rape, right? That is the term, okay? And it happens. And the problem with this is that you have like this ramp into how to manipulate the girl, who is, of course, immature, 14 to 15 years old, into accepting this. And a girl that comes from a vulnerable family, and she's a vulnerable herself, that is vulnerable psychologically, it would be easier to do this. And you basically, when she needs money, because she's enjoying the money, she's going to go back to Epstein. And I certainly, again, won't blame anyone, because I don't know the circumstances of their lives. Because the idea of a manipulator is to go for the most vulnerable people. So the girl comes back maybe once every couple months to do the thing with Jeffrey, until she becomes an adult, and maybe she's not that attractive to Jeffrey anymore. Maybe she's still attractive to Jeffrey. We don't know. And Jeffrey says, you know how you can make more money? You can tell your friends. You can, tell more girls to come here. And by that point, after years of conditioning of this guy, there's a brainwashing involved. She begins doing the deeds. I'm not saying that every single victim is going to go through this. But I'm saying that if you pick the right victim, the process is basically has been repeated many times, millions of times through the history of humanity, both with girls and boys as well. So that's one thing. So that is the complexity of this. That you can't just jump. Oh yeah, they were traffickers as well. Yeah, they might have been traffickers at 19 years old, 20 years old. But do you know what happened 5 years before that? We don't know. We don't exactly know. We don't know what were their circumstances. We don't know what brought them to Jeffrey in the first place. We don't know how Jeffrey treated them. You know how many of these diaries and photos and letters to Jeffrey, how nice you are for paying my tuition, for paying this. Maybe he, Jeffrey Epstein, for 1 or 2 years, or not 1 or 2 years, maybe in 6 months, he was this benefactor with them. And only then they began, ramping up the intensity of the manipulation. That can happen. So I can't, knowing human nature, I have been studying human nature for decades. I have been studying men and women for decades. At every age, the development of the psyche and how people can be manipulated into doing terrible things, and how they feel that they simply can't get out of that. of that cycle. All they should have known. It's more complicated than they should have known. But again, I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Barred Language Guy. Much love and bliss. Again, this is not a, I'm going to say a word. This is a word that can sound insensitive, but it's the word that I, as a researcher, I would use. The problem is that this is disgusting, of course, but it's at the same time how manipulators have learned, because this is a knowledge that has been passed. The ability to manipulate people this way has been passed and refined through hundreds of years. This is no different. The way Jeffrey Epstein manipulated this way, the way that I described this manipulation, is the same way that happened 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. This has not changed. It has only evolved because every manipulator has memoirs or notes, or has this, I don't know, this $5 a month, a group that, hey, you know, we hang out to know how can we manipulate women better. It is a thing. And there's so many examples of that out there right now. And sadly, so many of those manipulators get away with that. Precisely because they get away. And in instances, I'm going to describe to you what is called, this is something that is one of the reasons why Andrew Tate was so controversial, and he had this prosecutions open, but he has not been convicted of anything because of how difficult it is. And he has denied something that everybody knows that he did, which is basically the lover boy method. And he had this degree, this course called the PhD, which was a pimping host degree. That's what PhD meant to him. And what was the process? The process is basically you have to get yourself a Ghislaine Maxwell. And what do I mean to you have to get yourself a Ghislaine Maxwell? You have to look for a woman who is persuasive, who is cunning. Ghislaine Maxwell, that is patience zero. Once I'm telling you something that he explained on that course. That course, people, I think it was this guy, Milk Bar TV. He uploaded the course to his account, so you could see what Andrew Tate was teaching men in his courses. So you get one first girl, one lady that has to be stunning, has to be beautiful, has to adore you and whatever, and ideally doesn't have any problem with doing OnlyFans work. And once you have patient zero, which is that first lady, then you begin to use that lady to look for other girls. And this is from Andrew Tate. The first single most important thing is that you have to make sure that the new girls fall in love with you. That is the single most important thing. Because the idea, like, there was this pipeline. Well, what's the pipeline? What's the business model? The business model is that you had to pimp OnlyFans models. That was his business model. I don't know what, like in 2018, 2019. And I told you that I joined the war room, Andrew Tate's war room in 2020. So I had the opportunity to look at some of the stuff that was going on there. But one of the most important things that he explained is that, and you can see it for yourself, is that you have to make sure that the lady fell in love with you and to have sex with her. You know that, with the chemistry of men and women, You of course make the woman fall in love with you. You have sex with her that will just wreck her hormones, and after that she will just go head over heels over you. And he said, and that's when you can begin, suggesting the idea that maybe, have you thought of doing, sexy camera work? And he began creeping that idea. Why don't you do? You are so beautiful. You should be doing OnlyFans, but nothing out of the ordinary. Maybe showing your boobs and that's it. And yeah, that is the way. You're seeing the parallels, right, with the process that I described of the Epstein thing. You go step by step, and very important, you need a Ghislaine Maxwell that is the patient zero, and this is the one who is gonna be like the general of the group. And you, at the same time, you inject this idea to the girl or the woman that she's not gonna be exclusive. That I'm not gonna be exclusive to you. I'm gonna have all your girlfriends. So you see that Andrew Tate says that all the time. I have many women. I don't get married. I have many girlfriends. What do you have? What color of your Bugatti and all this stuff? And yes, that he. Just in case you want to understand, he basically he perfected the thing of man messaging these models. I don't know how many models he had. I don't know if he had, 10 or 20 of them. But then he perfected the model of messaging the man who sent the biggest tips to make it seem as if these girls were in love with this man. So that's why they began asking them for money, for stuff, for gifts. And this man, that men nowadays are in desperate need for this connection of any sort, even with an OnlyFans model. That's why men pay for OnlyFans, because they need some sort of connection with a woman. Even if that woman is a model, an OnlyFans model, they're paying for that. They pay for that connection. And they don't realize that they are not sending messages to the lady. They're sending messages to a man. Maybe I don't know, a guy hired a virtual assistant in India, pretending to be the girl, and say, "Oh yeah, I need this gift and such and such." And just they made a lot of money with this, and they invested that money in more stuff. But basically that was a lot of money involved. But yeah, that is the lover boy method. That is something that has been around again for hundreds of years, even thousands of years. That has been perfected time and time again. And nowadays we have social media, and nowadays we have the internet, which makes it all the more easy to, with the flash of Instagram, of everything, to do this kind of stuff. So yeah, I needed to explain manipulation. You know that this channel, we try to explain how manipulation works and how can you protect yourself against manipulation. So maybe I will even call this out as a section to explain the lover boy method. So you make sure that you don't fall for it, because you can fall. I will tell you, you don't have to be a young woman to fall for this. In fact, you don't have to be a woman to fall for this. This works on women of all ages, and it works on men of all ages. Only with men, the process is a bit different. But the principle is the same. It's like going very, very slowly, manipulating, and going easy steps first until the person can no longer let go. But that's how it works. But we were talking about young women, but what happens when it's a grown man, the one lying and not, let's say, not responsible of his actions? So we need to talk about Howard Lutnick, who was, let's say, he openly lied about having nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein after that time that he met him with his wife. And he said, "This guy gives me the creeps. I will never," and he was on the record, on an interview saying, And I never met him ever again. I told my wife, we both nodded, walking away from his house. We are never going to be anywhere near this man ever again. His wife and I, according to Howard Lutnick, made those kind of vows after they saw Jeffrey Epstein for the first time, because they had this very bad vibes, bad juju from the guy. But it turns out that they did meet the guy again, literally going to his island to have lunch, and they brought their children. Go figure. And if you're going to ask, yes, this was after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted, and everybody knew he was a pedophile. So, yeah, Howard Lutnick, we have another expression in Venezuela. This like you're guilty, as we could say, vas para la cárcel, you go to jail. It's like you're not literally going to jail, because I don't think that Howard Lutnick is going to jail over this. This is embarrassing. I don't know if you think that this is worth it for the guy to resign, but this is a huge, fat, big lie that he did, and was really embarrassing watching him telling this to Congress. Let's watch.
Lutnick, I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies.
4 children. He brought his 4 children. Did you forget any children, any child at the island, Howard?
I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012.
In 2012? In 2012, all right? It was almost fresh out of jail.
I don't recall why we did it.
I don't recall why we did it. I should. You don't have a merch. In my merch shop. You not only can get my Royal Rogue mug, which is my favorite mug in the world, but I need. I need to create. I don't know. Maybe a baseball cap or something that says, "I don't recall why we did it," or maybe I don't know, a quarter zip polo or something like that. I don't recall why we did it. That is wild. I don't recall why we went to the island. We were just going on a boat. Oh, we saw light inside, so we decided to jump off the boat and visit Jeffrey Epstein Island. But I don't remember. This is like this. I don't know. This the Mickey Mouse clubhouse. He's painting like this is the Mickey Mouse clubhouse episode with the mask tool. Oh, we found a mask tool at the Epstein Island. Let's see how this works. And they began singing, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse song while they were going to the boat after 1 hour. I mean, that was a bit rushed. I can guess that from the point that you're at the pier with the boat to the place that you were having lunch, have lunch, talk a bit about, what is that? What is that blue and white thing that is out there? No, don't pay attention to that. They had, some kind of coffee, some dessert, and then they went back to I'm pretty sure that it was more than 1 hour, but there's no way to tell, right? There's no way to tell. Oh my God, this man is cooked. This man is so cooked. I don't know. He might be awesome at his thing as Secretary of Commerce, but this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good on him, and I needed to call him out.
But
Mr. Secretary, again, as I said, there's
Yeah, you're full of you're full of head. Journalist to Secretary Lutnick about Epstein. Why did you say you found him gross but still kept in contact with him? Why did you keep contact after he pled guilty to sex crimes? Why do you say to Democrats calling for you to resign? This is all very good questions, and I myself am asking those questions.
Mr. Speaker, Howard Lutnick had said that he had cut off ties with Jeffrey Epstein in 2005, but the documents that came out contradict that. Democrats and Thomas Massie say he should resign. Do you think that Howard Lutnick should resign?
Of course not. It's absurd. Howard Lutnick is a great Commerce Secretary. He's done an extraordinary job for the country, and Thomas Massie should stop playing political games.
Do you have any concerns about Lutnick's ties with Epstein?
I don't know anything about that. I know Howard as an individual, and I trust his word on it. I mean, I don't know the timing and all that. I'm not sure. You have to ask others.
What's the latest on?
Do you have any interest in reviewing the unredacted files, the Epstein files?
Of course, I have an interest. For me, it's timing. I've got Chairman Comer and many of our colleagues that are going down to comb through that. Chairman Comer will go do it himself. I have a lot of faith in him and his ability and his team. The lawyers of oversight are going through it, and members themselves, as you know, it's unredacted and available to everybody. I intend to go down myself. Right now, I'm trying to keep the train on the tracks, and we've got to do all this stuff simultaneously.
Do you
So
know when
I
you're gonna go?
am convinced the DOJ is complying with everything they're required to do. We still have a pending report where they will formally explain why some of their redactions were made. But I think it's a good move for them to put the millions of documents in the SCIF so that members can go in and see and verify this for themselves. There's some good work, good review being done on that. I applaud it. It's important. We have to make sure that justice is carried forward for these victims, and we're all committed to that.
Well, they're committed to that, and again, of course, we circle back to the argument that we say sometimes. It is not exactly illegal to have visited Jeffrey Epstein's island. It is not exactly illegal to have lied on an interview, a very prominent interview, that you despise the guy and you never saw him again, and you were lying. It is not exactly illegal. She's not going to be prosecuted for that. But again, how can you trust the guy again? How does he come back from that? And so, some of you are mentioning, I think Ms. Weezy, for example, RFK Jr. had already admitted that he went with Epstein in his jet to some destinations. Look for fossils. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein got bored because Kennedy doesn't drink or drugs, and yeah, at least he came forward before all of this. That is my guess, because that is the idea. If you know that at some point you're gonna be exposed, and you know that the being exposed is imminent, I think you should own the narrative and come forward yourself and set the record straight of what happened. The big problem is that if you actually did bad stuff, and the other problem is, are there records of that bad stuff? For example, what kind of bad stuff could we attribute to Bill Gates at this point? Not saying that I'm going to deflect from the fact that we are talking about Howard Lutnick. I'm just doing another example. And again, what exactly was, it could have been something illegal that Bill Gates did while in Jeffrey Epstein. But the thing is, only the fact that they were hanging out with this person, in the case of Bill Gates repeatedly, in the case of Howard Lutnick at least one more time, that is enough to cast doubts about, their reputation. But I would like to know, what do you think about this in the comments? My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Much love and bliss. Yeah, I have forgotten to add this. He's a valuable member of the administration, so unfortunate, but he's a human being as well. We humans make mistakes. Humans make mistakes, and but you need to know. I mean, in this era, you have to know what's going on. You should be aware who you're hanging out with. that is non-negotiable. Oh my God, we are approaching 2 hours now. This 2 hours flew. How is it possible? How is it possible that we are 2 hours into the show? Well, we're gonna have another topic right now. Since we are shortish of time, we're gonna go with this other topic. Pam Bondi has been grilled. Today, let me see. Just in case, check whatever is happening on my timeline. Pam Bondi again. I think I would have a special show of Pam Bondi because a lot of clips here. I would like to go through them before talking about this. Let me highlight the chat for a minute. I need to review a couple things here. Yeah, I absolutely need to make a dedicated video or show about Pam Bondi because I want to choose the clips first. And again, as I've told you, I want to keep this the shows under 2 hours. Where those 2 hours go? Where did those 2 hours just went by? I was going to talk about a bunch more things, and we arrived at the and I kept a very close eye on the timer. Even so, here we are. So what do we do? Pam Bondi versus Thomas Macy is an absolute shit show. So people are saying that we should be. Let me see one thing. Let's do one thing. I'm going to go here on X. I'm gonna look for the. Okay, I think the Thomas Macy. I think the Thomas Macy is the one that is trending the most. So I'm gonna add this topic right now. There's a 7-minute video. Maybe we can watch that 7-minute video. Why not? We're here. My voice is warm up. Thank you for all of you who are complimenting my combination. I hadn't used this tie in ages. It was at the far end. No, what is this? This is not. I'm crazy. Wait a second. We're gonna have Pam Bondi with Thomas Macy in a second. Just make me sure to download this for your viewing pleasure. I'm gonna fix my show in real time just because you are worth it. You're worth it. Gonna doing my magic behind. So there's a lot of there's a nice combination here of things. Let me get the clip ready. Working behind the scenes here to bring you the best on the fly, because why not? Oh my God! Update Epstein files. This is another one. There's another one. Now we know who was behind that I Love the Torture video. Now we know who was behind the I Love the Torture video. This is my blazer is my latest one. I wanted a sand color one. I didn't have a proper sand color one. Before we talk about Pam Bondi, we need to address this. Update Epstein files. It has now been confirmed during today's hearing that Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of DP World, is the redacted individual in the email where it stated, I loved the torture video in 2009. So what happens now? Where are you? Are you okay? I love the torture video. Again, as we saw, the torture video can be whatever from a torture video that Jeffrey Epstein downloaded from the internet, a torture video of an actual torture of a person, a torture video of a staged torture of a person. We don't know. We already saw that. We know who. Apparently, it has been confirmed in the hearing. But as I showed you, in all the fluff and the noise, maybe we will never get to know what that torture video is about. Maybe, but we can confirm that some people like to watch torture videos because of reasons, I guess. I don't know. Maybe in that regard, I would say that I'm pretty sure that there are people in the world who enjoy Meghan Markle's show on Netflix. So yeah, there are people who are, let's say, attracted to pain and suffering and inflict that pain and suffering on themselves. So again, there's tastes for everyone. So let's talk about this. This clip is about Pam Bondi and Thomas Macy having a complete meltdown. Let's watch this. This is as fresh as it can get. Let's see it.
That's memorandum right. Targeting parents. For goodness sake, as the gentleman from California just pointed out in his 5 minutes, the gentleman from Kentucky is recognized for 5
May I
minutes.
respond very briefly to her statement?
Well, I think we can do that probably on one of our members' time.
Okay, thank you. I don't want that to get away. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victims' lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking, Co-Conspirators. Fully redacted. And by the way, I'm going to unredact them here.
Oh, in real time.
Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files.
Yes.
But he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking.
Oh my God.
And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see.
Sorry, I had to imagine that what is below this redaction, another redaction. I imagine him pulling the black box up like a curtain, and there's another black box below that. Sorry, I had to. My mind works in mysterious ways.
Because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you.
Oh, that is important. You cannot, if something is redacted, yeah, this time they did it properly, not like the last time that you could just select the text and just copy in Google Docs and have the text unredacted. I think that they did it properly this time, but if that is redacted, if those files come redacted from the FBI, then there's no way to search what's below that redaction. That is important.
Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document?
Technically, it should be able to do this because it is my guess that they have a system to tell who was in charge of reviewing which documents. But if they were doing this with haste, trying to comply with the deadline, maybe many hands were touching these documents at the same time. They did not comply with the essential rule of if you have a modified document, you need a log of who has modified what. It's like Google Docs. I mentioned that. Google Docs. It's like Wikipedia. You can complain about Wikipedia or Google Docs or whatever, but it has a log that says this person or this IP or this terminal or this account modified this part of the document. So essentially, yeah, you could search for who was in charge, who is responsible of releasing those victims' names, and who was responsible of redacting Les Wexner's face in that specific page. So it is possible to do it.
Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr.
Chairman.
This isn't how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from Kentucky.
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that? It's a political joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out of over 4,700, and we invited you in.
Well, one thing that we can get from this is that I learned to say co-conspirator the right way. So there's that.
Ian, this guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician. You need to get on these matters.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time.
I don't know. This was this mix-up with this clip from Cash Patel. I think someone was making some kind of editing, and this was from Gunther Eagleman. But this continues here.
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I am reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim time
this is bigger than Watergate.
When I don't answer a question
this
the way
goes
you want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
now,
where the
I want to know at what point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wexner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
Yeah, I want to read this because this is important. I was taking a look at this. What is highlighted? Internal DOJ communications. Internal DOJ communications. So the communications inside the DOJ making the decisions of what to redact and what not to redact. communications, including but not limited to emails and memos and meeting notes concerning decisions to charge, not charge, investigate, or decline to investigate Epstein or his associates. Number 8, all communications, memoranda, directives, logs, or metadata concerning the destruction, deletion, alteration, misplacement, or concealment of documents, recordings, or electronic data related to Epstein, his associates, his detention and death, or any investigative files. Yeah, this is basically they are requesting everything. So the Department of Justice, including the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the United States Attorney's Office, that relate to, yeah, basically everything. And you see, for example, here, number 5, entities, corporate and nonprofit, academic or governmental, with known or alleged ties to Epstein's trafficking or financial networks. This is so important. I have been seeing this for 1 year when Donald Trump was saying, "Oh, the Epstein files was a hoax, Democrat hoax," and he did not elaborate on that. And I said, "What? But they cannot be a hoax. They 100% exist." And let's not talk about trafficking, okay? It's just the financial networks. With the financial networks, you can get a lot of people in jail. A lot of people in jail. But again, well, this is the spot that we're on. We continue.
She answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The gentleman's time has expired.
You didn't answer the question.
Why are they talking about AI porn now? I got lost.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, could she answer the question?
Chairman, I was wondering. The gentlelady's allowed, the Attorney General's allowed to respond the way she wants to respond to any member's questions, Republican, Democrat.
All right, I have unanimous consent request.
Gentleman's recognized for a UC.
All right. This is an example. I'm submitting these 302 forms that are entirely redacted, even when you go to look at them.
Without objection.
I'm submitting a witness statement that implicates Les Wexner.
Without objection.
I'm submitting an article from the New York Times that the DOJ released nude photos and identifiable pictures of the victims.
That's another thing, because some people have found ways to kind of hijack the Department of Justice's website and find videos that were hidden in the system of the Department of Justice, and anybody, they already basically downloaded them all, and it's a mess. I'm not going to show them, of course, but some of those videos, I saw one video of a lady giving a massage, a foot massage to somebody. I have no way of knowing if that's Jeffrey Epstein, but there's 2 versions of the video. There's one version in which she is redacted. The video, she has her identity redacted, and the video is absolutely out of the open, in the open. So you can literally go, and if you know the trick, so to speak, to find the address of this video, you can download that. So yeah, it's a complete mess. From a technical standpoint, it has been an entire mess. But again, my earlier question still stands. This has been, they could have been that intense during the Biden administration, and they chose not to. Why are they so intense right now? That Pam Bondi has been a disaster from a public relations perspective, has been the worst optics possible, yes. But being this intense, I could have been during Biden as well, and they didn't.
I'm submitting a letter from A.G. Bondi to Kash Patel, imploring him to quit keeping the files when you found out that they were keeping files from you, because they're still redacting files.
Chairman, are we going to recess for votes?
Yes, we are.
I'm submitting for unanimous consent a document of 17 individuals who've resigned because of the Epstein files.
Without objection.
Yeah, imagine that you have like 2 levels of redaction. One level is the FBI itself. They say we are in this investigation and we need to keep these files redacted, and the DOJ will have other level of redactions that for prosecutions and investigations as well. So yeah, and you pretend that this amount of files and the communication between them, it was going to be a mess. This was, I mean, we are going from that I've got the files on my desk. And it's like for every week that passes, that file grows twice in size. So maybe in 6 months, the Epstein files are going to fill the entire known universe. We don't know. But again, I would love to know what do you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Much love and bliss. So that was a nice... that was a nice extra to today's show. Let me see what about other things we have here. Just in case, let me see if somebody has mentioned anything else. It's always breaking news. So 2 minutes in here. Yeah, it's like this. For example, I'm seeing here right now, just to comment this, Pam Bondi gets called out on Epstein and then immediately pivots to the Dow is over $50,000 as if she's reading from a brochure. Americans' retirement and savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. I guess I'm going to screenshot this for you. I'm going to screenshot this for you because I think that the only one that can get away with this kind of stuff is Donald Trump. The only one that can get away properly with this is Donald Trump. And I'm going to download the video because why not? I'm going to download the video. See, very quickly. It's going to take just a minute. Less than a minute. I'm very quick. I'm doing it right now as we speak. I'm the quickest video downloaded in the world. And now I'm going to send it. Hang it. I'm going to send it to my here and just add subtitles for you, for your viewing pleasure, just in case. So she's saying that we should not be talking about the Epstein files, guess? Is that what she's saying? But we should be talking about the Dow Jones index. So see what she's talking about. Pam Bondi gets called out on Epstein and then immediately pivots to the Dow is over 50,000. Is this right? Is this real?
And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin.
Yeah, she's acting like Trump. She's pulling the Trump card. I can understand. She's trying to do the thing that Trump does, which is saying, you know what we should be talking about? We should be talking about the economy. That's something that Trump does flawlessly and begins to say how great the economy is and such. Why you keep talking about the Epstein files? And no, that's something that Trump can do flawlessly. But if you want to do it, you have to practice it. And that's why she stumbles.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming.
But for what? Answer the question, please.
That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee.
I mean, there's a problem in here that I see. There's a sorry about the word, but the word is a clusterfuck. This is a clusterfuck. It's a complete and absolute clusterfuck. What is going on? And this is coming from like this dissonance between what the performance of the government should be and the perception of the government should be. And yeah, you cannot separate the performance from the optics. Yeah, it's great that the numbers seem to be doing great. I don't know if people who are into trading agree with this. Shout out. Maybe you can tell me in the comments if you agree with that things in the economy, the American economy is booming. Maybe you can say, because you can agree. But I do know that the way that they have handled the Epstein files has been less than ideal. And also I do know that they are the ones giving some transparency to the Epstein files. I mean, I don't want to play devil's advocate. You know that I have pointed out all the times that Bundy has messed up with this. But at least the Trump administration, Pam Bundy, Kash Patel, and up to like the last minute, Dan Bongino were actively these three are actively trying to, okay, you want the files, here are the files. And Trump realized that this is what's going to happen. This is going to be a complete mess. This is going to be a complete distraction of what is the real things that we should be talking about. But at the same time, people wanted to know the answer to the question. Are we being ruled by some kind of baby-eating cabal of reptilians who have these meetings in Little St. James Island or in Brussels or in, I don't know, Strasbourg or something like that? We want to know. People deserve to know. And people want to know who was implicated with Epstein in this trafficking. The problem that I see, we have several problems in here. And if you have been watching this show, you have noticed that there's too much noise in the files. There's a lot of people who were committing crimes, and the crimes, well, range for a number of stuff. Not only child sexual abuse stuff, but also prostitution and financial shady stuff. So there's a lot to be investigated for and prosecuted for, but maybe not enough people was expecting. People were expecting that this was going to be a full-blown eating babies fest. And I can't discard any of that. But the problem is that if this is the basically the majority of the evidence that we have, or at least the evidence that we can see, then reality is a bit milder, we could say. It's not as gross as what actually happened. But then we enter a conundrum. Some people are saying, okay, this is really bad because they are hiding something from us. And again, it's Trump, Bundy, and Patel are the ones who, from all these administrations, from decades ago, they are trying to come forward and come clean about everything that happened. And some people are saying that this is good because they're finding out that the crimes are not as horrific as so many people thought. And at this point, we have like this Schrodinger's Epstein case. Which one of the two it is? At this point, I really don't know. I only know one thing. I know that there's real evil out there. I know that there are real predators out there. I know that many of those predators, for a few years, let's say 10 years, they will be very careful who they hang out with and who they get taken pictures with, and you know they will begin to act in the shadows. They won't be as blatant as I'm going to hang out, and have lunch or dinner or fly in the Lolita Express or something like that with this convicted PDF file. No, they're gonna be as blatant because so many of them thought that they could get away with that. get away with having lunch with Epstein at his island, maybe nothing more than that, but getting away with flying on his jet, maybe getting away with getting a massage, all right, and who knows what else. So if something that we know is, I think we need to go back to the basics. This always go back to the basics. A family, and I could say that a family is the single most important thing that we could think of. How do we prevent this? The family. We need to always keep an eye on our family. Always keep an eye on our sons, our daughters, our wives, our husbands. That we need to be mindful of what's going on with us, and we need to remind we are so isolated that it's so easy for people to fall in levels of despair that just make you shoot at school, a shooting at a school, or become how to say that, trafficked or pimped as a prostitute, and eventually become a trafficker yourself. That's I don't know. It's there's so many things that I could say about this, but I would like to know, how do we fix this? How do we prevent this from happening, especially in an era in which looks, in which everything that is superficial and everything that is people are looking for a quick fix of everything, and so people are lost in life. Yes, we are in the wealthiest era of humanity, the healthiest era of humanity, the most peaceful era of humanity. But counterintuitively, it is at the same time makes it so easy to manipulate in certain ways. It was easy to manipulate in certain ways 200 years ago, 500 years ago, but right now there is a very defined way of manipulating people, and it's exploiting the isolation that so many of us feel and the despair that so many of us can feel at some point. I think that's the thing that we have to address, and we need to remain really close together with our family, with our sons, our daughters, our brothers and sisters. That's something that I think that that's what we should do. You got one super chat. Andrew Lapensi, Epstein collected this info to collapse multiple countries at once and usher in the World Economic Forum New World Order. The problem is, where's the I wouldn't say that where's the proof of that, because yeah, he had the power to do so, but from the emails, from the way that people flocked to him, it's not like he was threatening anyone. It's that people were actively trying to meet with Epstein. People were actively trying to meet with him. How you actively try to meet somebody who is threatening people and try to blackmail? I don't know, maybe record them. But record them doing what? That is the other thing. Record them doing what? With grown-up women? Because, okay, we don't know what jerky stands for. We don't know what whoops stands for. But where's the rest of the proof? Maybe there's no more proof, only fluff. I don't know. I don't know. I will still keep an eye of what is going on. I want to know that we're seeing the majority of the Epstein files. According to people, this is not the majority. According to the DOJ, this is basically it. It's a mess. The redactions and unredactions, they get fixed. I don't think that Pam Bondi is saying that, oh, it was fixed in 40 minutes. It shouldn't have been wrong in the first place. That mistake should have never happened in the first place. Because if you hide Les Wexner's face in one document, just one document, you know that people are going to nitpick that one document and say something is wrong. They're covering up this guy for something. It is what it is. And we can't avoid that. So, today's show was, oh my God, 2 hours and a half. My voice is saying, hey, Jesus, maybe we can go have dinner. Maybe we can go have dinner. I should go have dinner. My body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Remember that every single one of these topics I will send to my body language guy channel, to my Power Pundit channel. I had to talk about the royal family. Maybe I will record a video later. I don't know. But I will send it to my dedicated channels. You can find all my dedicated channels in the description of this video, as well as my email if you want to reach out to me with any tips or info or inside information. Reach out to me as well. I'm right there. My body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Until we meet tomorrow on episode 125. Remember the most important words: much love and bliss. Take care. Be safe. I love every single one of you. Bye-bye.